I will start to say a little anecdote about KOYORI. I think we were just in the beginning of the pandemic, and Stine and I decided that we have already so many nice brands close to us that we're working, so we were not taking any new collaboration because we like to know the people. But then one day, Koda-san called us and said that we were invited to work with two of the oldest Japanese manufacturers of woodworking. We had the graphic and logo identity designed by Jasper Morrison, and then we had Ronan Burulex was ready to design also for this new company. So it was one of these invitations that you cannot say, of course, no. It was actually very beautiful. Even if in the first time, we could only be and work digitally and meet only online, then they had an amazing way of listening, understanding, sending the prototype. And then finally, when it was possible to travel, of course, we visit Japan, and we visit both the manufacturer and the way they produce this wonderful furniture. And it was very beautiful to see how much tradition, how much passion do they have every single time when they work the wood. And now we've been designing this exhibition here in Copenhagen. I think that when you buy a KOYORI furniture, you buy a piece of Japan. And we hope you enjoy this story and you appreciate every time you touch it and looking. So we want to create this as a little bit like a contrast between a beautiful Scandinavian classic building together with almost like a Japanese house. So you have the entrance with this little reception, which is inviting. I mean, they're always so kind, and we think the way they always welcoming you is so beautiful. So this is the first part. Then we have this Japanese garden, and usually you have stone and sculpture in the center of this garden. And we think these furniture are like sculpture. I mean, of course, they are functional, but they are also so beautiful to looking at, and we so keen of always looking more and more into all the detail. And then this part with these screens is just in a very simple way, is almost like a house, because we are presenting table, and you can come here and see how the chairs and table, like in abstract house, you're welcome to sit around that. We hope you enjoy and you get a piece of Japan.
A lot of years ago, Jasper Morrison, which is a friend, said me that I should work with a wood manufacturer in Japan because the quality is so high. Okay, so but there was no interesting possibility. And one day, Koda called me. Koda is someone that I know since 10 years because he took care of Maruni, which is a very, very beautiful, interesting chair and table company, and I felt really secure to start a project with him. It was a very specific period because I have no chance to visit Japan, and I had to work with a certain distance. It was not easy, but it's the benefit of being a whole designer, so I have some knowledge about chairs. And I think in a certain way this pandemic situation and the fact that we just have to discuss through internet and FaceTime with Japanese people that do not speak English was very interesting, because we have to be very, very focused and very direct. I have the chance to have a marvelous assistant, Hiro, which is here, which is Japanese, so it helped a lot for the project. It's very interesting. The first time we received the prototype in the studio, it was a level of objects that I do not speak about the design we did. I speak about the quality of a first prototype. We cannot compare with what is doing in Europe. I've got a chance to work with some of the best European companies, but the quality of a first prototype was extremely, extremely high. And since the beginning, every time I'm extremely surprised by the knowledge and in French we say savoir-faire, so it means the extreme quality in each thing. So I learned a lot on this project. I thought that was After so many chairs and so many projects, I thought I had a bit of correct knowledge, but for ergonomy, for example, I learned a lot on this project. I designed this 6 chairs here. One of them is done in the company in Japan who did the butterfly Yanagi stool. It's probably one of the best company for plywood in the world. So, and then these 2 chairs were done in a very old company too, 100 years old.
I will explain about Meow chair, which is the solid wood. I have very similar experience and memory like Ronan, because also we had a very long process, first of designing the chair, then of digital meetings, and then of course you're very worried when you have never really met and you never really work together. And we're trying to challenge like with very small details, very minimized measures. Everything is kind of challenging to be as thin as possible, very, very smooth connections. So it's like, yeah, things that can easily be misunderstood. But I think was when we received the first prototype by post, actually in studio, we were so emotional because they have been so respectful to everything, and the prototype was just perfect. So actually after 3 years of almost not seeing a physical product, but everything has been turned upside down on a screen, and then receiving that chair, being so respectful to everything we have discussed by screen, we were like really emotional. It was very impressive. So the reason why we called the chair Meow chair, I think our inspiration was when you have a solid wooden chair like this, you have the armrest, which you will always caress that with your hands. So for us it was important to create something which is very pleasant to touch. And we had this idea about, by caressing, we were thinking about a cat. So the small detail you see on the arm is like the ear of the cat, where it's the softest place on a cat, and it's the place where you will always go and caress the cat. So that was a very kind of friendly name for the chair that became the inspiration.
Yeah, I mean, the Heda chair was a very complicated project. Of course, we want to challenge the plywood as much as possible. We know that it was possible. This is only if the company was also manufacturing the product, because such a tradition, as Ronan said, one of the best manufacturing plywood. And we want to try to have only plywood also for the legs, and the structure have this almost like a hammock feeling while the 2 legs are crossing and holding the chair. Of course, we showed some picture at one point that we didn't even know how many tests they made, but it was incredible that they were trying, and of course you can easily give up at one point, but they were always so keen on succeeding, taking this project like with big honor, and try to stay as much as closer with our design, while of course we need to adjust some of the drawing and the size. But I think it was a beautiful challenge for us and for them, and we always take it with big passion through now. So it was an incredible journey also for this product. And then we have designed the latest, of course, is the table, I think, for all the collection. And we have designed, in this case, with the table for the Meow chair, with some of the beautiful craftsmanship and detail that goes from the legs. And we like the contrast between the very thin structure of the chair and the much more solid and massive of the table. And I think the 2 elements are working extremely well. And so this is something very new that we are launching this time at 3 Days of Design.